Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there. Hey, Team Healthy. I'm so pleased to be with you on another of our episodes of Unbound. This is where I respond to the comments and questions that you send in. Okay, I'm going to want to just start with a simple little question, and that is, do narcissists like to have control? Well, that's kind of like asking the question, do fish enjoy being in the water? Of course they do. Narcissists want to be in control, but today I want us to ask, why? Why do they have such a strong need to have to control down to ridiculous little details, or in ways that just make no sense? And I'm going to just go ahead and let you know straight up front, their need for control is a direct reflection of how insecure they feel from the inside out. And their insecurity can show up in all sorts of odd ways. Notice it always has a control element to it. But I've got two different sets of comments here. The second one's a doozy. And I'm going to illustrate to you how narcissists have such an odd way of actually illustrating, I feel insecure. Now, they won't say that to save their life, but let's just kind of dive right into it. The more you understand where they're really coming from, then you can see through some of the smoke screens they throw at you, and you can learn how to respond more appropriately. Okay, the first person says, could you please speak about why the narcissistic person is so angry when they clearly need help? My 87-year-old mother wasn't able to finish her taxes, so I helped her get it done. For weeks afterward, I felt so much anger from her. She used to tell everybody all year that she was so busy trying to get her taxes done, and now she doesn't have that to complain about. And I feel so much hostility from her. Okay, what do we have going on here? Now, narcissists need to look like they're all together. So you have this 87-year-old woman who, it's in casual conversation with people that she knows, she'll say something like, yeah, I've got to get all my tax stuff taken care of, and I got to make sure that everything's fine and dandy and in its place. I have a lot on my plate. And then the daughter here implies, well, she actually doesn't know what she's doing. This is something that she finds to be difficult or more complicated, but she has to give the appearance that she's all together. And so when it came to crunch time, when the tax time came and we had to get it all taken care of, the daughter steps in and says, let me work it through with you. I know how to do this. I've done this plenty of times. And she goes ahead and takes care of it. What's so hard about that? By the way, if it makes you feel any better, when it comes to stuff like accounting and tax work and all, I tell folks, hey, look, I'm a psychology major. I didn't major in accounting or finance. And so, yeah, I've got a guy that helps me out with my taxes. How hard is that to say? And does that make me look weak, or does that make me look like I'm inadequate? And the answer is no. Sometimes there's just things on a tax return like, stock exchanges or who knows what. That, the average layperson may not have all the inside information on, but an accountant would know. Or in this case, a son or daughter would know. Why is it that being vulnerable and saying, I don't know how to do all this entirely, why is that so threatening? And right at the bottom of it, this 87-year-old mother thinks, well, I need to look smart. I need to look like I've got it all together, and to simply say, I don't know how to do my taxes in its entirety, or there's some aspects of it that are a little confusing. It's like, oh, I can't do that. And so when you see a narcissist coming through with this, I've got it all together. I have to give the impression that I'm really a somebody and I really know my stuff. Very often what you have instead is a person who's trying to hide their vulnerabilities or hide their, I'm not even going to call it a weakness, but just their lack of knowledge on everything. Narcissists can be so committed to the false self. I've got to give the impression that I'm much better than what I am, that something simple as this can cause them to have not only a cover-up, but then in the case that this person is saying, the hostility is there, the anger is there in the aftermath. It's like, oh, I'm so mad that I got busted. You better not tell my friends or that I don't know everything that I try to purport that I do. That's part of the insecurity, and it's, I mean, to the point to where it sometimes can be laughable. Now, I mentioned the second one's a doozy. Let's jump into this one. Now, it's not an extremely long discussion here, but I counted up 8 different indicators here of a narcissist's insecurity just in this one description. See if you can pick up on them. This person says, my father has a tendency to monologue rather than engage in reciprocal communication. He is volatile when challenged, so he feels that he should suppress any opposition. Are you listening? Are you hearing some of the indicators? He manipulates conversations by repeatedly saying, just let me finish, and distorts reality to portray himself both as a genius and a victim. It's almost laughable when you see him winding up for another barrage. Okay, just in that simple things, 8 things. I want you to pick up on this because the more you see it, the more you can just think, you know what? If you're trying to suck me into your little game plan, sorry, but I see straight through it. Okay, first sign, he has a need to monologue. Okay, what does that say? Well, there's only one person in the room that makes sense, and it's not you. Then it says volatile when challenged. So when you say, well, I recall from last week, it was this instead of that. And it's kind of like, oh no, you can't say anything like that. You can't challenge what I'm saying. That's an insecurity. And then has a need to suppress other people. Okay. In other words, I want you to just shut up and be what I tell you to be. You're not allowed to express who you are. And then, so it has a need to suppress any opposition. Okay. That's the fourth one. You're my opposition. This is a competition. This is not a dialogue. This is not a discussion. This is a competition, and I must be on top. Keep going. Number 5, manipulates the conversations. Okay. So in other words, when it's you and me talking, one of us has an end goal in mind, me, and I have to make sure that my end goal plays out the way that I want. And then number 6, by repeatedly saying, just let me finish. In other words, I'm just going to be dogmatic. I'm not going to let you have any kind of input. I'm going to do the Buttinsky kind of thing. I'm just going to butt in when you try to say anything. I'm not done yet. Okay, that's a sign of an insecure person. And then it says he distorts reality. All right, there's another one. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to make things look better than it really is. I want to look more ideal, not real. And then tries to portray himself as a genius. Okay, I've got to look, well, not just smart, but like the smartest person, not in the room, but in the city, in the state, on the planet. And then he's also the victim. If somebody comes against me, look how much I'm experiencing misery. And then that's number 7. Then number 8 is, and then he's going to wind up all over again for another barrage. You can just kind of feel it coming. It's like, uh-oh, Dad's over there. I can see smoke coming out of his ears. I bring all of these up because these are little bitty odd things, but just in that one illustration, 8 illustrations of or indicators of this person's need to have a tight control, when in fact, no, it's that person's insecurity. And the person that can't say, I needed some help on my taxes. What's going on inside these narcissists? And somewhere along the line, the whole notion of vulnerability or embracing humanity or accepting the fact that, there are some things that I'm strong at, there are some things that I'm weak at. Which one do you want to talk about? I'll be willing to be honest about both of them. That's just not in their wheelhouse. They don't know how to do that. For their entire lives, narcissists are kind of on stage, if you will. Okay, I've got to make myself look this way, and if you're going to challenge me, that's really bad because difference means rejection. These people are incredibly insecure. but they must come along and appear like they're the smartest person in the room. And the net result in both of these illustrations is deep anger. And so when you see their anger and you see all these little nitpicky kind of things that they bring to the equation, I'm hoping rather than you thinking, well, I need to be the one who's going to make that person change. I need to be the one that makes them see the light. I've had so many conversations with individuals who will say, I bet I've told them 100 times this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, well, is time number 101 going to be the one that's going to break through? And these people are stuck. And it's like the wheels spinning in the mud. You can push and push, but once it gets going, they're not going to come out of it. So know that you're dealing with a profoundly insecure person. And that's why people like me say you need to learn how to go gray rock. In other words, when these kind of things come along, you just give dull responses. And you don't really want to go into their space with them, because you know what they're going to do? Argue. Both of them. One of them has hostility. The other one says, just let me finish. Like, okay, I get it, Grandma. I get it, Grandpa. That's where you are. I'm not going to join you in that. And then you take what you see from them and then individualize it and let it be known. Someone in this equation needs to show what confidence looks like. And a confident person, A, doesn't have to have a false self. B, can say, sometimes I might get it right, sometimes I don't. And, you can be vulnerable. How about that? So thank you to these two people that have written in their circumstances. If you have some situations you want to comment on or ask questions about, please do so. I love these inbound videos because it allows me to comment on where you are from a very specific point of view. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do so, and we'll keep more of them coming your direction. In addition, you know that I'm a huge proponent of therapy. I don't have to remind you of that, but here I am, I'm reminding you of it. If you have a need for somebody to help you break this down, please, we have a link below here to the folks at BetterHelp.com. Get the assistance that you would need. It can be so helpful to have somebody remind you, you're not making this up, you're not crazy. Let's see if we can figure this out, and let's make sure that you stay steady despite their lack of it. So as the need for help is there, please go through the link and get the assistance that would be warranted. Now, I invite you to go to my website. We have lots of information on there. Go to my courses tab. I have 4 online courses, and they're very extensive. One of them involves anger management. The other is called This Is Me for setting boundaries. The third one is called Ready, Set, Connect, having healthy connection skills. And then this is free to be about being yourself despite those controllers. And so each of them has at least 25 teaching videos and handouts. Also, I have my webinars, which are 90-minute PowerPoint presentations. There's a tab for that. You're going to see that there's hundreds of articles on there. We have some tests, etc. So browse through all of that, and I hope you get some good benefit from that. In addition, I've got my books on there as well. Okay, narcissists want to give the appearance that they've got it all together, but then when it starts unraveling, they panic. They go into their insecurity mode. It's just part of the equation. So understand that's what you're dealing with. You don't have to play along with that game, though. I'm hoping you can be somebody that says, yeah, when I can't do my taxes, or if I have a conversation with somebody that's different from me, let's figure it out. I can do that. And it's not hard. It's called steadiness, and it's called decency. And ultimately, that's how you find peace. The best way for you to be in control is to quit trying to be so in control. And you'll find that you're a whole lot more relaxed person by doing so.